Hey everybody, welcome. Another Sunday. I believe it's the 25th Sunday of the year. I'm not a liturgical giant, but I think it's like 31, 32 years of the year, so we're getting pretty close. Actually, we're halfway through the September. I feel like we just started it. Anyway, we're going to read one of the parables of Jesus, and a little bit more beyond that, but this parable is probably one of the most perplexing, problematic parables that Jesus told. Has left many people baffling how Jesus, the great moral teacher, can actually, well, you'll see what I'm saying as we get there. It's chapter 16. Let me read that, please. Jesus said to his disciples, "A rich man had a steward who was reported to him for squandering his property. He summoned him and said, 'What is this I hear about you? Prepare a full account of your stewardship, because you can no longer be my steward.' The steward said to himself, 'What shall I do? Now that my master has taken the position of steward away from me, I'm not strong enough to dig, and I'm ashamed to beg. I know what I shall do, so that when I'm removed from the stewardship, they may welcome me into their homes.' He called in his master's debtors one by one. To the first he said, 'How much do you owe my master?' He replied, 100 measures of olive oil. He said to him, 'Here is your promissory note. Sit down quickly, write one for 50. Then to the other the steward said, 'And how much do you owe?' He replied, 100 curls of wheat. The steward said to him, 'Here is your promissory note. Write one for 80. And the master commended that dishonest steward for acting prudently. For the children of the world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light. I tell you, make friends for yourselves with dishonest wealth, so when it fails, you will be welcome into eternal dwellings. The person who is trustworthy in very small matters is also trustworthy in great ones. And the person who is dishonest in very small matters is also dishonest in great ones. If therefore you are not trustworthy with dishonest wealth, who will trust you with true wealth? If you're not trustworthy with what belongs to another, who will give to you what is yours? No servant can serve two masters. He will hate one, love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and mammon." So here you have the problem with our parable here. In parables, Jesus, what caught their attention is always sort of a surprise ending. You know, by American literature, O. Henry was noted for that, the surprise ending. And Jesus' parables are sort of the same way. You lead people, and all of a sudden they expect one answer, one response, one ending, and all of a sudden he turned the corner. And this is definitely one of those, because we have dishonesty, we have cheating. And at the end, the rich man commends the dishonest steward for acting prudently. I said, what? You're commending somebody who's dishonest, who's cheating, who's stealing? St. Jerome, the great biblical scholar, wrote to a friend of his and said, "Please, could you help me explain the parable of the dishonest steward?" Even the great Jerome was baffled by it. And St. Augustine was afraid when he preached and read this gospel that he'd be leading people to think that it's okay to steal. Not at all. Incidentally, that seems to be part of our problem in society today, that people, have noticed, are stealing, right? And they don't even stop them. That's a whole different case of problem stuff, but Jesus would not be commending that whatsoever. So what is going on here? Well, it's how he ended it. Here we go. For the children of this world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than are children of the light. Those who are Christ followers, we are called children of the light, children of the world who make their idols, their gods, the things of this world, the most important things. I often say, and I probably repeated in my homily this Sunday, but those football coaches, for example, you see how dedicated they are? I mean, working 16, 17 hours, sleeping in the office, never going home, watching game film for hours on end, looking for the slightest. I mean, they are really, really dedicated. Imagine if we in the church we had that same zeal and commitment. We'd turn the world upside down. And we're the children of light, and yet those of the world to win a football game outdo us. In fact, they sometimes say in sports, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And sometimes cheating is looked okay as long as you don't get caught. In fact, if you do, sneaky, underhanded plays, whatever, it looks like, well, you're really doing your best to win. Not all people would think that, but there's something about that. Now, I don't want to get into politics, but the whole thing about voting and who's voting right, taking rights, how to give votes. I mean, they're very planning, conniving, in this world, they're going to do whatever they can, they're going to do what they can, to succeed, to get ahead. We, on the other hand, who we call children of the light, we're sort of nonchalant, complacent, talking about being our eternal salvation. Hopefully we head to heaven, that's what we want. But we think somehow we're just going to waltz in there, it's just going to happen just by happenstance. Where's the zeal to do what we have to do, to strive to get to heaven? My brother's daughter's getting married very shortly, and all of a sudden he's concerned because he has to give a little speech, a little toast. He wants to look good. Also walking down the aisle, he got a little stomach, and now he's trying to lose weight real quick so he looks good, make the appearance. Now, if you were to tell him before this, or anybody, myself included, I'm not singling him out, how about fasting for the Lord? What? Fasting? I ain't doing fasting. Who does? But to give up something so I look good in that suit, or when I stand before it, as I look good in the pictures, we're fast. We'll do what it takes. You see, that's what I'm saying. See, the children of the world, the generation, we know what we want, and we'd make the sacrifices, whatever it takes. But to get to heaven, being a saint, being holy, if we're really committed. You think going to church, maybe sometimes once or twice a month, maybe they go each weekend, but there's many, as you know, don't. What kind of zeal is that? Who would do that? What football coach would go to practice twice a month? There's no way. There's no way. And these politicians, when they're running for election, they're up all night, working all day, months on end, going without sleep, going without food, living off a bus. This is the zeal. The children of this generation are much, much more dedicated. And that's why he's commending him. He said, no, we should be like that. We should have that same drive, that same commitment to do whatever it takes for my own salvation, for my own sanctification, and for the sanctification of others. So let's examine ourselves then. Let's look at ourselves and how much effort, how important is it for me to serve the Lord, to be closer to Jesus? Is it just one of many things once again? Maybe not even top of the list, it's just so one of many in the bottom? Now, we are meant here to enjoy our life, enjoy the things that life have to offer. I'm not asking to be in church all day or only to pray, or you can't do other things, of course not. But the first and foremost, I must make sure that I am on that road and that nothing detract me, and I'll do whatever it takes to be as holy as the Lord has asked us. God bless you.